We have the pleasure of being joined today by former England manager Sven-Goran Eriksson. Obviously known to many of us here in the Caribbean region. He has coached across the globe, coaching the Premiership, coaching Africa. He has also coached here in CONCACAF at one time at the helm of the Mexican national team. And now we're about to welcome him to the Caribbean region for Islands Cup Open in 2021. Welcome and thank you for being with us today, Sven.
Thank you very much. It's a big pleasure. Thank you.
So you look obviously good. You're now in your early 17s and you seem that you haven't aged a bit since I last would have seen you back in 2006 when Trinidad and Tobago met England at the World Cup in Germany. But tell me, how have things been with you of recent? What's it been like? What's life like now for Coach Eriksson?
Well, it's fine, except the coronavirus, which creates a lot of problem for everyone in the world. If you are old or young, rich or poor, man or woman, it doesn't matter. It's a problem for everyone. And in sport, of course, football, traveling, looking at games, having speeches, things like that, they're all more or less cancelled. So life is very quiet, unfortunately. And I shall not complain because I'm fine and I have a nice house and things like that. But it's a big problem because you cannot live your life as you want to live it, as you normally do. But it's not only me, it's everyone on this earth, unfortunately. So let's hope they find a vaccine as soon as possible so we can start to live again.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you. So can I ask you, Sven, you've obviously coached in CONCACAF, being at the helm of the Mexico team, and you've coached in all corners of the globe when you look at your CV. How do you compare working in CONCACAF, obviously working in the World Cup qualifying, as compared to maybe working in Europe, the dynamics, the different conditions, etc.? What was that like for you?
Well, you know, football is very international, so football is more or less the same wherever you go. Most developed football, of course, that's in Europe because football came from there. And if you take the leagues in England, for example, today, I think it's the best in the world. All the best players want to come there to play. All the best coaches want to be there. Some years ago, during the 90s, the Italian football was the best in the world, and I was lucky to be there with Roma, Sampdoria, Fiorentina and Lazio. So that was the right time to be in Italy because all the best football players in the world were there. But that is the Premier League in England today. But football is growing everywhere. In your part of the world, of course, United States, Mexico, South America, of course, football is incredible. Brazil, Argentina, among the best teams in the world, year after year and historically. Then you have the whole Africa. Football is getting better and better. And that's many years I said, I really hope, and I think African nation will reach semi-final, final in the World Cup one day, because I think it will happen. And I remember when I was a coach of Ivory Coast, we had a lot of very, very good football players. Drogba, the main player and the captain, of course, but many. So I thought we could go far, but we were knocked out by Brazil and Portugal, unfortunately. Asia, I've been working there and football is growing. China is a country where now the people, the government, they want to see China much better in football. So in all schools in China today, they play football.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening there in 15 years. So football is very universal, and I'm curious to come 2021 to see what's going to happen over there where you are.
We're excited to hear you say that, obviously. Of course, I must ask you about your 2006 experience As a matter of fact, I was speaking to goalkeeper Shaka Hislop a couple of days ago, and I was telling him about my opportunity to have this conversation with you. When you look back at 2006, and we can recall the Trinidad and Tobago game so vividly. We remember you putting Wayne Rooney onto the field of play in the second half. Little Trinidad and Tobago holding England for 83 minutes. Who would have thought that? When you reflect on that, what do you make of that whole experience?
Well, to be part of a World Cup, that's the best thing you can do as in football. If you are a player or you are a coach, a manager, or if you are whatever you are, when you take part of a World Cup, that's the biggest football party you can come to. So it's beautiful. And it's normally 1 month. Football, and you meet the best teams in the world, the best players in the world. You meet teams coming from different parts of the world. So it's fantastic. And of course, I remember that tournament because before the tournament and even during the tournament, I thought England could have won it. We should have done better. We were knocked out on penalties from Portugal, unfortunately. And I remember Rooney came in against you. He was injured just some weeks before the World Cup started. So he was very doubtful. Should he play? Should he not play? And things like that. A lot of discussions. But it was nice. But we didn't win it. But who knows when England will win it? Next time, maybe.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I think that you've seen the progress of the England team as well, and they seem to be on a decent run of late as well. Can I ask you something? When you look back at your career, etc., would you have supported something such as the technology of VAR way back in 2006? Since then, obviously, over your time as a coach as to now, the impact it is having on the game?
Well, I always said, even to FIFA, to Blatter at that time and people around him, that we need to help the referee because of many reasons. Because many times he cannot see, is it a penalty or not? That's practically sometimes impossible for the referee to see. So I always proposed that the referee should be able to go to the sideline and see the replay of the accident if the referee wants. And it took many years because Blatter was against it. He didn't want any technology in football. He said, even if it's a World Cup tournament or you play in the park on Sunday morning, it should be the same. And a lot of people didn't agree to that. But finally, it's here, technology. And I think it's right because, football is a game which normally is 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. It's not 100 against 80 goals. So one goal can be the difference between winning a big tournament or winning the World Cup or staying in the division. So it must be technology. And why shouldn't football have it when basketball has it? A lot of other sports. So I think it's right.
Okay, great. Of course, during that England period, we remember so many great results for the England team. You had a really good lineup, the way you control the England team. What would you recall as some of your high moments? Of course, I can recall the 5-1 over Germany, but of course, you have some other moments as well.
Well, you're right. Of course, beating Germany away at the Olympic Stadium in Munich by 5-1, that shouldn't even be possible. But it happened. Everything went well for us, for England, and everything went wrong for Germany. One of those days. So that's like a historic result. But every time you qualify for a big tournament, World Cup or the Euro, which also is big, it's not a World Cup, but almost as big. So it's great, and I remember 2002, I think we beat Argentina and did a great game and played very good football. So there are many highlights during that period, but Germany, yeah, I will remember that for... And most England fans will always remember that result.
Yeah, of course. Are you excited for Qatar 2022? Nobody knows what's going to happen with the pandemic. Obviously, World Cup qualifiers have resumed across the globe, and hopefully things are falling into place. But how do you look forward to World Cup 2022? What do you see? What do you foresee?
Well, you always hope that when it's a World Cup, it should be, as I said before, a football party. What do you say? Football party, whatever you want to call it. It should be football, and it should be played, lived as a fan or whatever it is, by happy people. And people not arguing, well, arguing. You argue always about the result, and you argue about who's going to play or not play, but in a friendly way. And you hope that every time many times it's politics involved, it's a lot of discussions, should the World Cup be played in Qatar or not, and things like that. And if you love football, you don't want to hear that. You want all the best football players come together, all the best teams qualified to be together, and you want to see it if you are there, or if you are in Sweden, or if you are in Jamaica, wherever you are. You want to sit in front of the television, and you want to enjoy what you see. You don't want to listen to all these other things. If it's right, Qatar or not, who knows? I don't know. I want it to be a big tournament, and that's it. We want to see goals. We want to see brilliant combinations. We want to see surprises. We want to see delusions. What football is.
So, in closing, I would just like you to basically, share something with the Caribbean region. We have the countries that are excelling. You have the likes of Jamaica. You have Curacao now that is making a name for itself in regional football. They're trying to qualify for the next World Cup. They've recently appointed Gus Hiddink as their head coach. You have Haiti is always knocking on the door. Little Trinidad and Tobago again is trying to get its act together. What would you have to say to these countries that are trying to progress in world football, both the players and the coaches who are trying to emulate people like yourself and other big achievers in the game?
Well, you're always very happy as a football fan when a country from that part of the world will qualify for the World Cup, because it's great. It's great for football. It's not like they need football. We need them. We football people, we need the whole world coming together to play in the big tournaments. So that's great. And of course, if you want to be successful there, you have to start with young boys and girls to play football in school and after school and things like that. And training, playing, that's the only way you can be better. Because it takes time to be a good footballer, and if you start when you are 15, 16, it's too late normally. You have to start as a small child to kick the ball, and from there you take it and create interest for the football and create fantastic good football players, of course.
Great. All right, Sven Eriksson, it was such a pleasure speaking to you this morning, and I want to wish you the best in health, your physical nature, and we hope to see you again soon. And I'm definitely looking forward to having you in the Caribbean in 2021. All the best to you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Good.